What's up, YouTube? PokePrimer here, primed and ready to deliver you our draft analysis for the PFL, the PokeFighters League, if I remember correctly, because I'm stupid. But we're back with the PFL. We never left the PFL, but it's been a rough couple seasons. The last season actually ended up being scrapped, pretty much. Like, they kind of did a mock janky version of playoffs, but yeah, it kind of happened. It was just kind of there, so yeah, I guess it's cool. But yeah, now we are in the new season. We did kind of a little like mock draft thing in between. I didn't decide to record any of that because I think I was already 2 matches deep before I got back to school, and I wasn't gonna go back and like try to bulk upload all of that. I don't like doing that. I'm trying not to do that anymore with leagues. That's why I'm trying to keep everything consistent on a weekly basis. But yeah, and then we've drafted for the brand new fresh season. So I will say this is one of the first times I've made an actual draft plan in a while, and I got sniped a lot. You can see I did get Fini because I had like the 4th overall pick, but I wanted Fini Zygarde. Zygarde went 1st overall, so that sucked. I wanted Mega Pinsir. That got sniped. I wanted Celestina. That got sniped, but we'll get to that. I think I wanted Miss Magius or something along those lines. I think I wanted Miss Magius at some point, and like that ended up getting sniped, I'm pretty sure. Like, it was ridiculous, dude. I got sniped like 6 or 7 times. This is why I typically don't make a draft plan. Oh, I wanted Cofagrigus, and that got sniped. So there were like 6 or 7 different instances where I got sniped as fuck. Like, bad sniped. Like, really, really bad snipes that like just like they were the kind of snipes that you pause for a minute and then you feel like you just got punched in the dick, like really hard punched in the dick. But like it was some shit, man. It was definitely some fucking shit. I was struggling, dog. I was really struggling, man. Like, oh, God. Yeah, so it was a very long draft for me, per se. Because I was like, I was sitting on the outside, I'm looking in, I'm like, I guess I'll take that. It's kind of like, I think for the first 3 or 4 rounds, I drafted like hard on tilt. Like on tilt as fuck. I was so tilted because of the snipes. Like, I was just grabbing shit that like had similar typings or was like similar in some shitty fashion to what I had originally wanted. Like, I just what a day. What a couple days that was. I was just like, dog, can we not snipe all my shit? Can we just not snipe my entire fucking draft plan? But for the most part, like after Mega Pinsir got sniped from me, the only snipe was Kofag, so it wasn't too terrible. But I did get the Tapu Fini. I did get Tapu Fini, so it's kind of lit. Tapu Fini's, Fini Nut. Gotta love the name. Fini Nut's really fat, really good defogger to start off with. Solid water type. Very solid speed tier sitting at 85. It's not a bad speed tier to be sitting at. There's a lot of shit that's below 85 that I could definitely speed creep if I need to. So that's pretty cool. Just overall, I think this mon's really solid. I have no real complaints about having this mon. It's really solid overall. It can taunt, it can defog. The Misty Terrain helps my bulkier mons, or any of my mons really, that are on the ground, which I don't. I have one Mon that's a flying type and one Mon that is a levitator. So they aren't affected by Misty Terrain, but other than that, the rest of my team can't be statused while the Misty Terrain is up, which is really, really fucking nice. So I can't be Toxic Stalled, really. If I play it right, I can't be Toxic Stalled. I can't be burned on my physical attackers when I really don't want to be burned on my physical attackers. So you're going to see like my team has a lot of bulky offense to it, and a decent amount of bulk itself, just in general. Kind of the way I drafted my WCBL team, honestly. But, you know, with obvious differences, of course. But, yeah, it's pretty solid team. I have no real complaints with it. I'm a huge fan of it myself. So, yeah. Finny is just a very, very good support to have to start things off. Y'all saw how good Finny can be. I just have to be smart about it. Like, I have to not do the dumb shit I did in that WCBL game yesterday, where I, like, click, or, like, earlier, I think it was earlier today that I put it up, where I click fucking rest in the Misty Terrain, like a dumbass. That shit was funny, though. I laughed at myself immediately after that, and, like, as soon as that battle was done, I was showing my buddy, fucking pissing my pants laughing at that shit, dude. That was good. But, yeah. So, that was done. Next pick I wanted, Celestina. I was like, alright, if I can't get fucking Finny Zygarde, which we'll get to Finny Zygarde as well, we'll discuss that in a few picks, but if I can't get Finny Zygarde, then I'm gonna still grab a Celestina. Nope. Didn't make it to me. I was like, fuck. Alright. So I was on tilt. I just kind of grabbed the first steel type I looked at, and I grabbed Scizor. Now, as the draft went on, I think I was talking to Jeremy. He was kind of trying to weasel my way out, because I had Scizor. And he asked me about Scizor, and I was like, I mean, yeah, sure, why not? But then he mentioned the idea of maybe asking Steven. You're our buddy Steven, nice and rival of ours. We've battled him plenty of times. He's beaten us. I've beaten him a few times. We've been pretty back and forth, and I enjoy battling him every single time, because he always brings some really heat sets, and he always has a really heat fucking draft every season, so it's really, really cool to battle him. But, he had Celestina. So I hit him up, and I'm like, hey man, is there any chance in the universe that you'd be willing to swap Scizor for Celestina? And I waited a bit, and then I saw a message pop up, and it was for him, and he was like, yeah, I'll go for that. And so, in memoriam of his kind deeds, for the entirety of this season, Celestina will be known as Thanks Steve. Because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have my first Z user on my team, and I wouldn't have such a fucking threat. I love Celestina a lot. It is very fat. It is a pain in the ass, and it also has the potential to just set up and fuck your shit. Basically, it's an amazing setup Z user for just about any team. Like, you can pretty much just copy paste Celestina and as your steel type on a team, and you're Gucci. It's pretty great. I love Celestina so much. It's a really amazing Pokemon, really, really solid overall. Like I can't have any complaints about Celestina. Set up in things like Autotomize and such like that, it's just great. Its coverage is fantastic. Things like Energy Ball and Giga Drain, Earthquake. Obviously, it's Steel and Flying Stab on both sides. Fire Blast, Flamethrower, shit like that. It's got Leech Seed, because why not? It's just god tier Pokemon. It's just a god tier fucking Pokemon. Rock Slide, Stone Edge, Superpower. Like, this thing is so good. This is so good. I absolutely just love Celestina. So, I'm very, very happy that I have Celestina on my team. I'm really looking forward to using Celestina well, because I had it in the last PTL season, and I don't feel like I used it to its full potential. So hopefully I can do that here. But we'll see. The next mon we scooped up, I literally just watched Mega Pinsir get picked. I was looking around, I was like, alright, I haven't picked yet what I want my fast electric type to be. And since I'm kind of fixing around some of the other tiers in the draft that I need to scoop, I'm going to go ahead and grab Mega Manectric. So, perks of Mega Manectric. It's fast as motherfucking balls. This thing's speedy as dick. This is insanity. 135, that's ridiculous. Redonkulous speed. So I'm hitting everything, like, outside of, like, the Mega Arrows of the world. But other than that, like, I'm hitting everything, which is great. I'm outspeeding the rest of the universe. So they have to bring Scarfers to try to take me out for the most part, or something that can wall me appropriately. Like, they have to prep a specific way to wall this mon, which is something I like to have. It forces them to prep a specific way. We also don't have to Mega Turn one, so I do have access to regular Manectric for a bit, which provides me access to Lightning Rod and shit like that, which is really, really cool. So I can have an electric immunity for a good part of the battle, and that could really throw off a game plan for some people, which is really cool. So, really, really a huge fan of this. Plus, once I Mega Evolve it, I have an Intimidator, which is always nice. Intimidate's a great ability. Like, people I think, sleep on Intimidate a lot, but in the broad scheme of things, like, when you look at the calcs, like, the difference between being at neutral and being at -1 is so obscene. Like, you just don't realize how big of a difference that shit can really be. So, I'm very, very happy to have Mega Manectric on the squad. Looking forward to using him. It's been a long time since I touched Bolt Doggo. Like, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, honestly, since I used Doggo. So Bolt Doggo's out here. Hopefully gonna be picking us up some W's. So yeah, hype. Next mon we got, we hopped into tier 2. I'm kind of looking to finish building my cores. At this point, like, I have the Fairy and Steel for my FDS core, and I still need to start building my Fire Water Grass core, because I only have my water type so far. And I kind of want to start doing this before the rest of the fucking things get sniped from me, because, yeah. So we hopped into tier 2, and we scooped ourselves up the boy Celebi. Layers the Celebi, because onions have layers like Shrek. So that is our boy Shrek, aka Layers. A lot of cool things with Celebi. Base 100 across the board, obviously, really, really cool. It is 4 times weak to bug. 4 times a week to U-turn and shit. But, like, we already have 2 mons, like, 4 times resist, and I think it's just regular resist, because I'm 99% sure Fairy resist bug, if I remember correctly. So, we already got 2 resists there, and we're going to get a fuck ton of other resists as the draft goes on, so I ain't too worried about it. Like, out of our whole team, we only have 2 bug weaknesses. So, like, okay, whatever. I got plenty of things that can take a U-turn. I ain't worried. But it's got natural cure, so even if it does get statused, it just pops itself out of the match and doesn't care anymore, which is really nice. It is my first Stealth Rocker, which is really cool. And at this point, when I first entered the draft, it was my only Stealth Rocker, which put a lot of pressure on it, but I made a quick free agency trade that remedied that, but we'll get there when we get there. But, it's a Stealth Rocker. It has a lot of setup potential. Calm Mind, SD, Nasty Plot. Also has access to Baton Pass for other forms of momentum. Some decent forms of coverage. It can act as a cleric with things like Heal Bell. Doesn't get Wish. No, don't. Just heal up, but that's fine. Has a U-turn of its own, so it can keep itself some momentum, some nice support moves as well. It's a really, really good Pokemon. And with the base 100 across the board, also with Recover for reliable recovery. And Perish Song. Why is Perish Song like making it on like the top moves thing on like every Pokemon now? Like I understand Perish Songs being more used because of things like Sapsip or Azumarill with Whirlpool Perish Song and shit like that, but like not every mon needs to use Perish Song. I'm just saying. But whatever. And base 100 across the board, it does give me a lot more options with it. If I need a physical grass type, then I can bring a physical grass type. If I need a special grass type, I bring a special grass type. If I need a bulky Fizdef grass or a bulky Spadef grass, then I have that option as well. So this mon's really, really useful for a lot of different things. It's very versatile. Not quite as versatile as Mew, but it's basically a grass type Mew, let's be honest. So really hyped to have layers on the team. And so there we go. Now, I told y'all I wanted to do Finny Zygarde. I didn't technically do the regular Finny Zygarde, but I'm still doing Finny Zygarde, just 10%. I'm only like a fifth of the way to Finny Zygarde. It's fine. I'll just go around a little and I'll capture like 40 more cells. I'll figure this out. It's all good. No big deal. Honestly, the guy who drafted Zygarde, literally his reasoning for drafting Zygarde was, I don't want to face it, so I'm going to draft it. Because one of his favorite mons is Heatran, so like, I get it. Like, you want things gone from your life that you hate, I understand entirely. So, it's fine. I'm not salty. I'm not salty. You won't find salt here. Fuck you, Jermaine. Dickhead. Anyway, I'm kidding entirely. But, yes, the Dragon type move weakness doesn't really help a lot on Zydoge. But for the most part, like, it's kind of similar in a sense that, like, he doesn't really need his Dragon Stab as much. Like, it's not as necessary in certain cases, because in most cases I'm able to just click 1,000 arrows, or set up and click 1,000 arrows, and then I'm Gucci. Like, I just win at that point. So, we'll see. I mean, I could... Like, there might be some weeks where I need Outrage, and I'll bring Outrage if I have to, but I'm going to try to avoid it if I can. But I'm sure there's going to be weeks where I bring Outrage. Like, I'm guaranteeing you there's going to be Outrage on this mod at some point. But, like, it still does get all the same awesome support and extra cool things as regular Zygarde, obviously. It still hits as hard. Can still set up with things like Coil and Dragon Dance. Still has access to extreme speed. Has Glare and Haze to eliminate other setup, which is nice. I didn't even know it got Pain Split, which is kind of cool. And of course, the ever-present 1,000 Arrows. That amazing move that made Zygarde go from who the fuck is Zygarde to oh my god, I love Zygarde. If y'all didn't love Zygarde day one, if y'all weren't out here with some Land's Wrath type shit, you know, your boy Land's Wrath right here. If you weren't out there with some Land's Wrath type Zygardes on the ladder, you weren't a real Zygarde fan. I'm just saying, if you didn't touch Zygarde till he had 1,000 arrows, you ain't real. But, nah, Zygarde's really good. I'm happy to have Zydoge. I haven't used Zygarde Doggo in a while. And it did a lot of work for me in the PTL last season. So I'm hoping that I can do some decent work with the Zygarde Doggo here. But yeah. Next up, I wanted to finish off my Firewater Grass core, now that my Fairy Dragon Steel core is taken care of. So I hopped down into the Tier 3. Zydoge was one of my first Tier 3 mons. My other Tier 3, I decided to grab something I haven't used in a while, but I wanted to give it a shot. We got Man-Bear Pig, the Emboar. Yeah, you heard me. Emboar. This wall breaker of a monster. 123 attack and 100 in special attack. This thing hits like a goddamn truck on either side. This thing can hit hard if it wants to. It's really, really cool. The base 110 HP. This thing lives so many hits The fuck? Like, understand, yes, it's slow, and its defense stats aren't that great. But this thing still lives hits. So, I like this Mon. Reckless is an awesome hidden ability. Kind of wish it also had access to Thick Fat, but that's just me. Mostly because I have Pig Knight now in the EBL, so like, kind of just want it to have Thick Fat though. But with the Reckless ability, things like its Flare Blitz and its Wild Charge and Head Smash and shit like that do so much more damage, which is insane. Like, this thing does not, like, really have a switch in. There's the reason why this thing's suspect tested in NU. It didn't have a switch in the entire tier. And, like, that doesn't really change much when you extend it outside of NU. This thing still hits fucking hard everywhere it goes. Like, goddamn, this thing's scary. You don't want to deal with fucking Emboar. This thing is nasty to face. Just not a fun mon to deal with. So, obviously I picked it up because I don't want to deal with it myself. It does get priority in Sucker Punch as well, which is actually really nice, even though Sucker Punch's power was lower this generation, but, you know, I'm not salty about that either. Also gets Scald, which I always found funny. I always find it funny that Emboar got Scald, but you best believe I'm going to bring Scald Emboar at some point this season. I'm telling you right now, I don't know who I'm bringing it against, wink wink, nudge nudge, but I'm going to be bringing it. But yeah, this is the boy Emboar. It's going to be really, really lit to use this mon, and I'm really, really excited. So, ya yeet. We out here. Now that I have finished those cores, I kind of wanted to build with some of the other mons on my team. Kind of wanted to start filling out some other things I want. Now, yes, I do have a Psychic type already. But that's fine. Because with Celebi fills a lot of different roles. It fills the role of a rocker, setup sweeper, bulky pivot for momentum grabbing and stuff like that. It does a lot of different things. But in the role of being a bulky psychic with the extra added typing that it has, not only adding the 4x weakness to bug, but adding the fire weakness, the ice weakness, the flying weakness, the poison weakness, all the other extra added weaknesses that the extra typing adds, kind of takes a lot away from it being the bulky psychic type that I typically want to have on my team. So I decided I wanted to grab a for real bulky psychic out of tier 2, and I grabbed Hardbody the Reuniclus. Everyone knows Hardbody the Reuniclus. Reuniclus is an amazing Pokemon. The reason Reuniclus is an amazing Pokemon is it has Magic Guard, so you cannot Toxic Stall or damage it with anything on the outside, which is one amazing thing about Reuniclus. The other amazing thing about Reuniclus is it has access to Regenerator, and Regenerator is a busted-ass ability that just gives you back a clean 33% of your HP every time you swap out the match. So, say you just pop in, take a hit, you're forcing a switch, you pop back out, bada boom, you're back up to full basically, which is crazy. You don't have to do shit or worry about shit at all. And add in the fact that, like, with 110 HP, I love how we had 2 mons back to back with base 110 HP, it's crazy. But with 110 HP added in with, like, these defenses, this thing is hard to take down. Very hard. And having a 125 special attack stat, a lot of times you don't even have to invest in this thing's attack stat to actually just straight up blow something back, which I love so much. Like, this thing hits so much harder than you think it does. So much harder than you would think it does, which is great. Another cool thing about this mon is it gets access to Trick Room. On top of, like, a decent amount of coverage, it gets access to Trick Room. It's base 30. It's gonna underspeed a lot of things. Also, add in the fact that we have a base 65 mon who's fairly slow, and you can build him even slower. like, Emboar is going to underspeed a lot of Mons and can do really well in Trick Room. So that's a good option as well to have on the team. I'm really, really happy that we have that option. So, yay! Now, next up, I was planning on grabbing my Ghost, and that was going to be PokeFighters, and of course, we get sniped. Because, why wouldn't we get sniped? Of course, Kofag got picked up, because Kofag's always picked up in leagues where people pick up Mega Lopunny, and that's every league. At every league where Mega Lopunny gets drafted, Kofag goes at some point. Because Kofag is the ultra counter to Mega Lop every single time. There's no way around it. Kofag counters Mega Lop. And if people want to argue against me on that, that's fine. If you disagree with that, that's fine. Kofag is a hard counter to Mega Lopunny. Because you take away that Scrappy, what is Mega Lopunny? Nothing. Nothing in the broad scheme of things. Especially because most weeks all you run is dual stab. Like, even if you're running a coverage move that week, Kofag's so bulky because it doesn't matter. And, like, okay, you can run Toxic and whittle it down. But all it has to do is run Rest or something along those lines. Boom. You immediately have a Kofag that Lopunny can't beat. Period. So, it's not like it's a crazy thing at all. Like, people know that. So I understand it entirely. But, I still wanted my Ghost type. And y'all know him. Y'all know him. Y'all know him. Y'all love him. I took away his King title for this one because I just wanted to kind of meme it a little bit. So he's a little spoop. He's a little spoop to Dust Noir. Y'all have seen me use Dust Noir plenty of times. You see him in the NPBF, etc., etc. So y'all know how Dust Noir works. Obviously, he's slow as hell. Base 45 speed. Mind you, he does get Trick Room as well. Keep note of that. That's an option. Abilities. Got Frisk, which is great. And Pressure, which y'all saw is hella useful. So, yeah. It's got Frisk, got Pressure. Both very useful abilities. Frisk to scout sets. Pressure to stall some PP and put myself into better positions. Trick Room to put me to allow my slower mons to put in some work. And just overall bulk. This thing's super bulky, really, really hard to break through, and if played right, is just a monster on an A team. I love Dust Noir. It's one of my favorite Ghost types to use in the format. Just for personal preference. Like, I'm not saying it's one of the best, but I'm definitely not saying it's one of the worst. And I'm definitely saying it's one of my favorites, personally. I just love Dust Noir. I've grown steadily to love it over the years. It has done so much work for me in the past. Every week I've brought it, it's done exactly what I wanted it to do, or something along the lines of what I wanted it to do. So, definitely happy to have it here once again. And, yeah, so, hype. So, that's my Ghost type. And at this point, I didn't get sniped anymore, which is great. And, I saw that my only form of hazard removal so far was Defog on, Tapu Fini. So I wanted to grab some hazard removers near the end of the draft as well. That was kind of how my plan looked like. And obviously I wanted a Ghost immunity. I wanted a normal type. So I was able to get both in one when I grabbed myself. Just me. This is me. This is me right here. This is Komala. Komala is great. Komala has a base 115 attack stat for no fucking reason because he's a small koala bear with a tiny log. But apparently, he hits like a truck. Don't understand it, but that's fine, because he's adorable. Look at his cute little face. Look at it. Just look at him and tell me you don't want to hug him. I want to hug him. Always want to hug him. But his defensive stats aren't too... Like, his Spit F stat's amazing. Base 95 Spit F is great. Really, really eats a lot of hits. 65 speed isn't terrible. Either 65 defense is okay-ish. But that 115 attack is really, really great. This is a really hard mon for Ghost types to switch into because it does have access to knockoff, as well as things like Sucker Punch and Shadow Claw to hit incoming ghosts. So spin blocking it is very hard because you have to switch into a base 115 attack stat, and you really don't want to try to do that. Also gets access to U-turn, so it's another U-turn momentum grabber on our team, so that's 3 total. mons with momentum-grabbing maneuvers of some sort on my team so far, which is really great. Kind of wish Celestina got U-turns, so just this gigantic, like, space rocket thing just go flying through the air and just bounce off you real quick. You would die, honestly. This mon hits like a truck. It's really, really solid, and its Comatose ability is amazing because you cannot status it at all. And actually, that comes into play very soon when it comes to the swap that I made. So, yeah, that's great. Really, really happy with having Kamala on the team. Just really, really good. Really, really good mon, and yeah, it's great. So, we have a Rapid Spinner, we have a Defogger and stuff. Now I'm looking into... I always grab a Grounded Poison type because of Toxic Spikes. It's nice to have a mon that can just come in, doesn't have to click any moves, just comes into the battle, and the Toxic Spikes are gone. That's fine. I get that. Takes a lot of pressure off my hazard removers so that they don't have to get poisoned or anything like that. To get rid of the hazards, I can just make that quick switch into my poison type. No big deal. However, and I did grab Garbodor. It gave me a Toxic Spiker, it gave me a Spiker, which is okay. I mean, it's nice to have the hazard options. It's never bad. And Garbodor's not a bad Pokemon. I liked Garbodor. I actually had it as one of my Z captains once the draft was over with. And I got to pick my Z captains because I can get a tier 5 or a tier 1 and a tier 5. And my other tier 5 that we'll get to in a little bit. I just didn't feel good about using that as a Z captain, so I went with the boy Garbodor. However, Jermaine, one of the other coaches, was doing post-draft analyses if you asked for them, and he brought up the point of Celebi being pressured as a rocker on the team, which I didn't honestly think about until he said it, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? He's definitely right. I definitely should replace something on my team to better it. And, shout out to him for doing those. I thought that was really cool. But now I was stuck in a position where I was like, all right, now what the fuck do I do? Now what do I swap it for? So I was looking through, and honestly, like, once I realized it, like, if you think about it, the reason you grab a Grounded Poison type is to absorb Toxic Spikes. Let's look at my hazard removers, right? Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini sets up Misty Terrain. Right? In Misty Terrain, things that are grounded cannot be statused. So I can land on Toxic Spikes all I want in that terrain. I'm not getting poisoned. So there's that fix. I can just come in, click Defog without getting poisoned and not have to worry about it. We got Kamala, who has the ability Comatose, which prevents him from being status in any way, period. So it's kind of just the situation that we're in. He's just kind of there, So yeah, Kamala's doesn't have to worry about it. He can come in and spin, no problem. And then our last one actually has access to the ability Levitate, so it does not even touch the ground, so it doesn't get affected by Toxic Spikes. So all three of my forms of hazard removal don't worry about Toxic Spikes at all. And if you look at the rest of my team, I have potential Magikarp Reuniclus. I have Natural Cure Celebi. Like, out of all of my team, out of all my team, 4 out of like the entire draft I have doesn't care about cares about Toxic Spikes. So the overall majority just doesn't give a shit. So honestly, besides not having the poison type stab for like fairies and stuff, which at the same time, most fairies carry psychic coverage, or can carry psychic coverage. And overall, Garbodor's like not the easiest mon to fit on a squad multiple times to handle fairies. And I have something like Celestina that is a bona fide amazing fairy killer. So I decided to drop Garbodor, and I was looking at what was left, and I 100% needed another Stealth Rocker. So I actually ended up getting a Stealth Rocker, who also has access to spikes, and actually fills 2 typings that my team does not have yet. And so say hello to Krusty McGee, the Crustal, who is going to be my other Z user. Now, first thing, I made it a Z user because I've dealt with Shell Smash, Rock EMZ off of Rock Wrecker, and I've never seen HP drop faster than that. So obviously I'm going to hit myself up with some Z Crustal, which is great. Sturdy, as well as Shell Armor and Weak Armor. All 3 great abilities depending on what I'm going for. So I'm really, really hoping that I can make this work, because this Mon is really, really solid and very, very hard to beat. 70 HP with 125 defense. Even the 75 Spadef, like, it can be made to work. It's not bad. It's good to have. It's a very, very solid Mon. 105 attack. This thing does hit like a fucking truck. It's a really, really awesome Mon. I love it. If you look at its moves, wow, why does it just have nothing from A through D? That's insanity. But things like Earthquake, Knock Off, Night Slash, Poison Jab, good moves overall. Does get Rock Wrecker. It gets Stealth Rock and Spikes, which is great too. And the Shell Smash setup. So this provides me a fresh new setup Mon. Provides me a Spiker and a Stealth Rocker, so I can take off the hazard pressure from Celebi. Celebi doesn't have to worry about putting up hazards anymore, which is great. And I have something else that can just be a solid threat for my team, which is awesome. I love it. I do enjoy using Crustal. Crustal is actually a really fun Mon to toy around with, so I'm really looking forward to giving it a shot. The last Mon I drafted is my other hazard removal. I was in a bind because I got to the end of the draft, and I kind of wanted at least another defogger or another spinner or something like that to kind of take a little bit more of the hazard removal pressure off. And I was kind of struggling because I had filled out a lot of typings at this point. But to be honest, I was pretty lucky because I was able to get both in one place. And I got Cryogonal, symmetrical to Cryogonal, because all snowflakes are symmetrical, but no 2 are the same. Apparently, that's how that works. Pretty cool. But yeah. As of Ultra Sun and Moon, it gets both Rapid Spin and Defog, which is totally weird. If I face someone with a Alolan Ninetales, I can maybe use Aurora Veil against them, which is great. Haze to kill setup, things like that. Priority and Ice Shard, which I'll probably never use. It also gets access to Knockoff, which I may use at some point. It gets access to Recover, which is really nice. Dual Screens, which is awesome. Dual Screens Cryogonal is actually a really, really fun set. Things like Flash Cannon, Freeze Dry, stuff like that is really, really fun stuff. Pathetic Pack, Signal Beam. There's spiders in my Snowflake. Pretty legit. If I do say so myself, if that could be a Z move. Or whoever does that on Duncan's channel. Make there be spiders in the Snowflake. Just saying. Putting it out there. And what I like about Cryogonal is, like, yeah, its physical defense is shit, but with base 80 HP and 135 Spadef, this thing's bulky. This thing's actually really, really bulky as a special wall. It actually does a lot of work. And 105 speed is nothing to laugh at either. It actually really helps my speed tiers a lot, because, like, my speed tiers are actually really, really good. I hit 105 with Cryo, I hit 115 with Zydoge, and I hit 135 with Manectric. Like, that's some really balanced, really solid speed tiers, in my opinion. And then I have base 100, and then I hit like 85 underneath it. So, like, overall, my speed tiers are really good. So I'm really, really happy with how this draft turned out. And holy crap, this has been a 40-minute draft analysis. Pretty cool. But I'm gonna leave that off here, though. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like down below, and stick around for more PFL-related content. I'm going to be delivering you all of my battles. They will be post-com for this league, because I already have 3 main leagues on the weekends. Not to say that, like, I don't view this as like a main league, like this is a top-tier league for me, but I'm not going to, like, switch around what leagues I have on the weekends for the main slots and what leagues I have in the side slots. So that'll be it for now. Until next time, guys, I'm PokePrimer, and I'm signing off. Peace.